That kind of change for us all. Is no restart.
Big move in Bitcoin then, in contrast to all the notes I wrote pre-show, which were telling me that this was going to put Bitcoin under pressure.
The narrative that perhaps this launch of these political meme coins will sap flows from Bitcoin is showing us that is really not the case this morning. If anything, it's just accelerated the momentum and the excitement around cryptocurrency under another tough
Hello.
Hi, Dewald. What is all this FOMO about? Should I buy Bitcoin now?
Are you smoking your socks? You should rather watch my show. You should rather watch my show.
All right, legends, let's go. There we go. We are live. Sorry, this took a while. Just some technical stuff I had to sort out. There we go, legends. Hope you can hear me all crispy and clean. You can see my screen and my chart right in today's live stream. Like I said yesterday, I always get many altcoin requests during the live streams, okay? And most of the audience, around 95 to 99% of the audience are here for Bitcoin technical analysis. So yesterday I said in the live stream, let's dedicate a live stream for altcoin requests. So if you think that altcoins are shit and it's scams and it's it's not worth trading them or having them in your portfolio, then you can skip this live stream, because we are going to focus on altcoins in this live stream. Maybe we can look at a little bit of Bitcoin technical analysis, but the focus is going to be altcoins. Right, legends. So please don't send me a message, Dewald, what about Bitcoin? What about Bitcoin? Because this is an altcoin live streams as per your request. Remember to smash up that like button. I will say hi to the community in a moment. I have some altcoin requests already prepared that some people have sent me, especially in the Legends Pro community. If you are a Legends Pro community member, you do get preference, okay? So yesterday I asked some of the pro members to say, well, if you have any altcoin requests, please give it to me. I'll throw it into a list and we can go and have a look at those ones as well, okay? And then also, definitely, I'm going to take some requests, okay, here in the live stream. So, right, legends, first up, should we go through Bitcoin? No, let's start with some altcoins. The most requested altcoin was Tau. Tau, for some reason, most people wanted to look at Tau. Even inside the comments here, the comments inside the live streams after the fact. And right, we will go look at Tau. But just 1 minute here on the price of Bitcoin. Okay, broken the trend. It's still consolidating sideways. Very frustrating. I think we're only going to see some action once we leave this range. I think that's where we're going to see the action. We need to leave the range either to the upside or to the downside. What I would expect, if price does come back to the downside, I would like to see a bounce above or at the trend. no high time frame candle should close below the trend. It's fine if price dips below and gets bought up and it leaves a wick behind. Perfectly fine, but it should not close high time frame candles below the trend. That increases the probabilities that you're going to come take the low at $74,000. Right, this little pivot looks really juicy if we do come here to the downside. So just very quick Bitcoin technical analysis, because I know we all are interested in what is Bitcoin's next move. So if you take a fib from the low to the high, this is the zone, the 0.382. The 0.382 together with that little pivot looks absolutely juicy. So if price does decide to break this trend, it falls here to the downside, I want to see how price is going to react over here. Okay, 50% in perfect alignment with the trend. And this could be an epic bounce, legends. If we do fall here to the downside, this could be a nice little epic bounce that goes and claims at least the high at $86,400. Okay, from a bullish case perspective, well, there's a chance we've broken this trend. We are consolidating above, closing high time frame candle closes above. We actually jumped into this trade last night together with the Legends Pro community. I was expecting price to go a little bit higher because I still have that point of control a little bit up, just a little bit to the upside, right? That point of control did not get tapped. A little bit frustrating, okay? We were waiting for a rejection at this naked point of control, where it did look like there was a potential harmonic pattern forming over here, okay? And you're going to reject here by the 786, and you're going to fall down and claim the C and the A point, I think, okay? But basically these two pivots over here. So there's still a chance for price to move up, reject, definitely shorting opportunity, but that's just scalping here at the moment, legends. So just to keep the analysis simple so we can wrap it up here on the price of Bitcoin, it's still holding above the trend. It has broken out. It's closing multiple time frame candles above the trend, and I think the one that looks juicy is that if you go into the smaller time frames like the 15 minute and 5 minute time frame, there's potentially a trend that you need to keep in mind over there. So if you missed this little breakout, wait for the break of this trend. Stop goes below the low, you're targeting the highs and obviously taking profits as you hit resistance to the upside. So there's a chance. I saw Andy talking about one of the scenarios as well. So legends, I'm going to wrap it up with this last little scenario, that what if this is an impulse and this is a W, X and a Y wave that ended in a triangle. Definitely very interesting scenario that Andy mentioned yesterday inside of our Legends Pro community as well, where you basically have a W, oops, grab my pen, you have a W, you have a X, and you have an A, B, C, D, E, right? However you want to count it, but you're basically ending the Y inside of a triangle where this low at $83,700 should be protected, and you want to see upwards momentum. Okay, right, legends, that's basically the technical analysis here on the price of Bitcoin. So we kept it nice, juicy and short, and now we're going to focus on some altcoins. That's why we're here, right? Make sure that you have your coffee, water, beer, whiskey, tea, whatever you prefer to drink. I've got my water, I've got my coffee. I'm ready for this live stream, so let's dive right in. I also bought myself a little snack, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have this snack, legends. And I'm not sure if you're all familiar with Carolina Reaper. I got myself some nuts, and then I saw this on the label. Not sure if you guys can see. So some very, very hot and spicy nuts that I want to try out over here. And I'm a spicy type of person, so I might be chewing while I'm doing technical analysis. And let's get the party on the road. Let me say hi to the beautiful community, and then we can start. Okay, so let me clean it up over here. Let's go to Tau, first altcoin on the list, the most requested by most people. For some reason, people are very bullish on this altcoin. And okay, altcoin requests are already starting to stream in. Let me say hi. Morning, Benjamin. Sui and ADA, yes, Sui is on the list, and perhaps I can look at ADA as well. So when I'm done with the altcoins that I already have prepared over here in the list, then I will take the requests that are coming through. So make sure to keep those requests coming, especially when I'm asking for them, okay, because I might miss the comments on top, and I'm going to look at the fresh comments at the bottom. Let's go, Alex Sokman, Legends, Shield, Morning Peeps, Mr. Junior, welcome, Mod in the house. Smash that like on your way in. Yes, Legends, remember to smash up that like button on your way in. I see we don't have a lot of people. Maybe it's too early. Maybe people are not interested in altcoins. Okay, who knows? Right, altcoin TA, let's go, Jack. Yes. Chili Hills, let's go. Hello, Dewald. Hello, welcome to the live stream. The legend is here. Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon, Dewald. It's afternoon there by you. It's still morning here in South Africa. Hi, Dewald Mohit. Welcome. Surveyor, hello, Legends. Welcome, welcome. Lion, hello from London. Ooh, I've got people from all around the world here on the live stream, and I appreciate every single one of you being here. HBAR, you see the altcoin requests are already coming in. Okay, just remember to keep those requests coming, especially if I'm done with the altcoins here in the, you guys will see here behind my face, I've got a yellow list. Okay, those are the ones that I quickly want to go through now. So, and I will explain some of the rules, okay, something to keep in mind when I go through these altcoins, Legends. And but I'll get through that before I start. Jack, hello, Dewald, welcome. Kadena, right? AR and Rune, we can go through that. Rez, please. Eat, brother. Hey. I feel guilty for not tuning in, but I've spent the past few months enjoying life in Canary Islands. Ooh, wow. Gold star, what? I mean, that is absolutely wonderful. Reset the brain, reset the mind, rejuvenate the soul. I mean, that sounds absolutely amazing. Welcome back to the live stream. Appreciate you being here. Haven't seen you in a while, especially during the lives. Yes, I know, Caroline. Carolina, welcome to my chili shop. Mr. Dewald, no socks today. Yes, well, I do have some stinky socks over here if we need to smoke some stinky socks, you know, especially if I need to tell you guys we're 100 eggs long now, go. Okay, then I'm definitely smoking my socks. Dewald, no Elizabeth, welcome here to the live stream. Appreciate you being here. How about we start with USDT? And well, we can start with USDT. I do have it prepared over here. Okay, definitely something interesting. And I mean, dominance and USDT dominance actually goes hand in hand with some of the altcoins. Okay, are we going to get the momentum to the upside? We need dominance to drop. We need USDT to drop in order for money to flow back into the crypto market. So Darcy, I think a very good suggestion. I will definitely start when we with USD dominance over here. Hello from that place. Oh, pleasure, man, pleasure. I can't see that flag in detail, so I'm not sure exactly where that is from. Vchain, right? Yes, full reset, definitely. Hello, can you take a look at purple Bitcoin on Solana? It's a community-driven token, lots of smart features and development in the making, 10k holders, burn mechanisms, low supply. Peter Sororskiv, right? I will go through the altcoins that I've got here on the list, and then I will take as many requests as I possibly can until I'm tired and my eyes are burning, and then I'll say bye, because I know I'm most probably not going to be able to go through all of the requests, but hopefully I'll be able to go through most of them. Okay, trades. Hi, Dewald, welcome. Aditya, welcome, man. I haven't seen you here in a while. Welcome to the live stream. Appreciate you being here. Hello, Dewald. Legends community. Yes, if you guys would like to join our Legends Pro community, there's a free section, a paid for section. That is where we drop the alpha first. That is where you get preference. Okay, from a request perspective, that is where you get personalized access to myself and Andy as well. We'll be drop daily technical analysis and trading scenarios and loads and loads of education. I am actually, Legends, just to let you guys know, I'm actually busy with my own trading course. So if you guys don't see me as often as you would like, I am busy working in the background. It's not that I'm lazy or I don't want to talk to anyone, but I'm busy putting together a basic trading course, because it sometimes frustrates me when I'm in a live stream and someone asks a simple question like how to pull a Fibonacci, What is a green candle? What is a red candle? What is leverage? You keep on talking about 100x. What do you mean by that? So it might sound silly to most people because you've been in the game for a little bit longer. But for the new people, I'm designing a trading course that covers the basics at the moment. And then I will develop the intermediate, okay, and then I will develop the advanced, and then I will develop the master class. And as those modules gets done, I will release the courses, but I will let you guys know the details as those courses are done and ready, and where you can find them and so forth. Okay, right, legends. Aiden is Indian. Yes, I think Aiden is Indian, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Mr. Aditya, Aiden is Indian. Right, the Peters are present. Have you ever tried a chart USDT? It really gives a good direction for alts. Darcy, have you ever tried the chart USDT plus USDT plus? No, I haven't, right? And I don't want to frustrate and bore everyone over here if I'm trying to figure that out. Okay. So definitely something that I will investigate after the fact. Okay, cool, legends, let's dive into the technical analysis. That is why you're all here. There's not a lot of people on the live stream. I think it's Friday. People maybe not interested in altcoins, but I did promise the committed people that are on the live stream here at the moment, I'm going to give you what you want. I'm going to go through altcoins. So legends, just need to switch the heater off. It's getting hot here in the room, but it is starting to get winter here in South Africa, so it's getting a little bit chilly. So let's start off with the technical analysis here on USDT dominance. Right, so here on the 8-hour time frame, legends, you know I'm scalping here now. The 8-hour time frame is that we've had a trend, we've lost it, and with this momentum here to the downside, we had quite a nice little rally from most of our favorite altcoins. And this is kind of what we want to see again. This trend is a lot steeper than this trend. This was actually a much better trend, okay, the 45-degree angle trend. What is interesting about USDT dominance, it is now currently finding support at the trend. It is bouncing at the trend. It's back at the home line. Okay, so if I zoom in over here, you will see that it's almost like it's decision moment here for USDT dominance. Okay, if dominance can break down and retest, okay, I mean, that's still going to be bearish, right? You're still expecting upwards momentum, but we don't know how the structure is going to play out. It could literally just tank here to the downside as well. We unfortunately can't predict the markets. You want dominance to lose the trend, okay? We want dominance to lose the trend. At the moment, it is still showing strength. There's no denying it. If dominance has lost the trend already, I would have said, okay, there's now a sign of weakness. So we have to acknowledge, considering the altcoins that I'm going to go through now as well, is that dominance is still showing strength. It is still respecting the trend, and it can definitely bounce and follow the red line that I have marked out over here. Okay, for now, the red line that I have here carries the highest scenario, the highest probability, because we have not lost the trend yet. It's still showing strength. It is consolidating and chopping over here, and the one thing that concerns me about this choppiness that it's creating over here is that if you go into the history and you look at what happened here, okay, for example, you get choppiness, you bounce. You get choppiness, you bounce. Okay, look, there was no choppiness there. It literally tapped, made a lower high, and then it broke. Okay, so that's something that I'm just from a historic perspective here as well. So when I now look at this little structure, okay, it's chopping. Okay, every time it creates this little consolidation area here at the bottom, okay, it bounces. So there's a chance that it's gonna bounce. And maybe what could play out over here is you make a lower high and then you break the trend here to the downside. But legends, there's so many scenarios. You lose it, you retest, you continue down. You bounce, you make a lower high, you continue down. Or you just keep on respecting the trend until we get to the larger trend to the upside. And I mean, this is the moment where USDT needs to reject. Because if USDT dominance is not going to reject here by this trend with a massive resistance that we have to the upside, I don't know if we're going to get an altcoin season. Right? You can see that this trend that I've got over here, we have massive resistance over here. So ideally what you would like to see is a double top. You want dominance to reject over here, okay, and then start falling to the downside. Worst case scenario. Because if dominance is going to successfully break out from this trend, I very much doubt that we are going to get an altcoin season very soon. Okay, maybe we're going to skip altcoin season altogether, right? So dominance needs to find weakness. A glimmer of hope, okay? Maybe it doesn't even get here because it is inside of resistance. It did tap resistance again. A glimmer of hope, and I just don't want to be the bearer of bad news all the time, is that when you take a fib, so let me take the paths here out the way. When you take a Fibonacci here from the high, from this highest point to the lowest point we've created over here, you can see that dominance have rejected at the 786. Okay, usually what I say is, let me invert the scale over here. Remember, from an Elliot wave perspective, what I usually say, legends, is that this is your most last bullish bouncing area. When you tap the 786, you increase the probability, and you can hold it, you increase the probabilities of claiming the high or the low. Okay, this is now just in reverse, obviously, right? So this is where, if there's any chance of claiming this low aggressively and losing it, this is the zone where you want the rejection to take place, because when you claim the 0.88, you increase the probabilities of taking the high. So that's why I'm saying, legends, the glimmer of good news that I see potentially over here, the light at the end of the tunnel, is that dominance already got the rejection inside of resistance at a very great target to increase the probabilities of still taking the low. If USDT dominance is going to continue to bounce here on the trend, taps the 0.88, increasing the probabilities of taking the high, then you want to see that double top. You want to see the rejection not break out. Maybe it leaves some wicks behind. It gets the fake out. Okay, it looks like, oh shit, we're not going to get an altcoin season. It loses momentum and it falls back down and it creates the double top. Okay, I'm kind of seeing this as worst case scenario. We're still going to get upwards momentum. The crypto market is still going to just consolidate sideways. We're not going to get any real fireworks just as yet if this scenario is going to play out. Right. And then the glimmer of good news is we reject it at the 786. Maybe it bounces, it creates a lower high, and it starts correcting back to the downside. And because you reject it at the 786, you increase the probabilities of taking the low and breaking the structure to the downside. That is what it was, that's obviously what we are all waiting for. Okay. Right, so that is basically USDT dominance. Let's go look at Bitcoin dominance. I mean, there's not much to say. It's exactly the same story for me. Very, very similar. Okay, that massive week, if I go here onto the weekly time frame, this week that we left behind, okay, from a technical perspective, what you want to see, okay, is the rejection at the 50% Fibonacci. So when you take a fib from the high of the week to the low of the week, that 50% level, okay, that you have here, there, smack bang in the middle. Usually, if you are not going to fill the entire week, the rejection has to take place at the 50%. And the fact that we smashed and closed a weekly candle above the 50% increases the probabilities of filling the entire week. So that is usually how the theory works around filling a week. Often you get the rejection at the 50% and you want price to reject, not close high time frame candles above. That is usually it needs to at least fill 50% of the week. And if it doesn't and it starts tapping the levels above, it increases the probabilities of claiming the high. Okay, and now we all know, okay, it's already tapped the 0.88, increasing the probability of taking the high. So perhaps, okay, looking at the structure, let's go back here to the daily time frame. Okay, maybe, just maybe, right? This is now the most bullish case scenario, is that dominance creates a double top and it rejects. It creates a double top and it loses the trend. Very important. If I go here back to the 12-hour time frame, let me just make sure that I have everything set up nicely over here. If you see and look at this trend that's been forming here on the 12-hour time frame, okay, this is the trend that dominance needs to lose. So hopefully we create that double top, it rejects and it loses the trend, and it needs to lose these lows. Okay, but I mean, that could still be very, very bullish. Just this little move to the downside can be very bullish for some of the altcoins. But for dominance to continue to the downside, you need to lose these lows over here. It needs to lose the lows. Okay, now you're starting to break market structure. It comes back up, it makes a higher low, lower high, and it continues momentum to the downside. So this is where you want the rejection in the short term to take place. A double top, you are at resistance. Look at this red box that I have. Okay, Bitcoin dominance is at massive resistance at the moment. Okay, as you can see here on this structure, right, we have resistance and support over here. This is where dominance is struggling at the moment. So there's still a chance for a rejection in the zone if we can form a double top. If dominance is successfully going to break out over here, the next last stop before things are going to get really crazy is 72%. You can see here consolidation area, resistance, order block. Okay, look at that, resistance, resistance. This is the last major resistance that we have to the upside. So if things still gets boring and alt still keeps on consolidating or bleeding to the downside, the rejection needs to take place over here, because if Bitcoin dominance is successfully going to break through this resistance area, there's not much to the upside. I think it's going to accelerate. There's not much resistance to the upside. Okay, if it successfully breaks out over here, I think it's going to accelerate until it hits, dare I even say 100%. I don't think dominance is going to get there. Okay, it's still at resistance and there's still major resistance above. So in the short term, we want to see the double top. Okay, worst case scenario, you want to see the rejection at 72%. Right, you can also see that this little momentum here to the upside is very steep. It looks like, you know, it's very steep here to the upside. And these steep momentums don't last very long. So I wouldn't be surprised for it to at least lose this trend over here and come bounce on the major trend again. Okay, that move can be still quite significant, right? Oh, it would be nice just to come and claim this low at 54%, right? Can you guys imagine what if we reject, we lose the trend, and the structure starts correcting itself? I mean, this is what we all want, right? That is the magic moment that we are all waiting for. Okay, right, legends. Now, that is basically dominance and USDT dominance in a nutshell. Okay. For the moment, it looks like there are still a little bit of strength. USDT dominance is still showing strength. It's consolidating at the trend. And Bitcoin dominance looks like it still needs to go and claim that high. Okay, so maybe there's some good news in the horizon, but these are things that you need to keep track of. Put in your trend lines, maybe set some alarms and see when those things do start breaking down. Okay, right, legends. First altcoin on the list. And now, before I go through the altcoins, I just want to make a couple of things clear because I don't want people to misunderstand me and construe what I'm trying to explain over here. Right, I need to just make sure that everyone is on the same page. First up, legends, most of the altcoins, 99% of the altcoins can be traded with the links down in the description, where you get the biggest sign-up bonuses and lowest trading fees. Especially if you want to open up maybe a swing position, a 2x. I don't recommend anything over over a 3x position. If you're a swing trader, you'll know exactly what I mean, especially on the alts with the volatility and the percentage that they do move. Okay. I don't recommend anything over a 3x leverage, right? Preferably 2x leverage. But I've got weeks where you get 20% cash back on the money that you deposit in your futures account, so you have extra money to trade with, okay? 20% more money to trade with. And you also get 25% discount on your trading fees. Bluffin, exactly the same deal. You also get 20% cash back on the money that you deposit in the futures account. It's also your way to support the channel, and this is where you will most likely find every single altcoin that I'm about to go through. And it's also your way to support the channel, and it's costs you nothing extra. So come and support the channel and support me to continue to be here bringing you the alpha. Use the links down in the description. You don't lose anything, you actually just gain by having the big access to the biggest bonuses and lowest trading fees. And you can also win that Ferrari, right? This is where you register on weeks to go and trade like you usually do and stand a chance to win a Ferrari or the money equivalent in the Ferrari. Okay, cool. And with these two platforms, you do not have to provide any documents, and you can start doing some leverage trading. Right, Legends. So I've cleaned up the description, and if you would like to come and join our Legends Pro community, where myself and Andy and the coaches like Aiden here in the live stream, Aditya and Dylan, and myself, Andy, provide daily technical analysis on things that we are looking at. We provide education. You have access to a masterclass that teaches you everything you need to know about trading. This is where you join. Okay, the other thing that I want to highlight, Legends, is if we do start to get an altcoin season, let's just play out the good scenario. If you are looking at a specific altcoin, okay, and I am saying the structure doesn't look sexy to me, okay, it doesn't mean that it can't get momentum to the upside. What I have personally seen from every single previous altcoin season is that even the shittest of shittest altcoin gets a rally to the upside. Okay, you need to do your own research and your own fundamental research in terms of if that's a token that you are interested in to invest for the long term, and maybe to take advantage of the potential altcoin season that still needs to come. Okay, when I look at a structure, especially from an Elliot wave perspective, and I just want to highlight this, okay, is all the altcoins that I'm going to go through, these are the structures that look sexy to me. What I will do is, if I go through an altcoin that looks extremely great from a technical perspective, okay, I will highlight it in a different color. And those are the ones that I will most likely start adding to my portfolio, or I think which potentially is great from an accumulation perspective. One of the most important factors that I look at when I'm analyzing any market, any asset, S&P 500, gold, Bitcoin, I don't care, any market, is I look for this structure. Okay, I'm just going to draw it out and explain to everyone what am I looking for over here. Right, let me put the lines in over there. Okay, when I look at a structure of any token or any asset, I want to see this being respected. Okay, in order to get a third wave, and just from an education perspective, the third waves inside of Elliott wave theory are the most explosive, they are the most aggressive, and they give you the biggest gains. Okay, if I'm analyzing an altcoin where this structure is still intact, where I can count a 1 and a 2, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside, it's had a corrective structure, but this low is still protected. That usually is a great sign for me that this structure can still give you this and this. Okay, but this is the best one. This one, Legends, I can tell you, it can go. It doesn't have a target. It can really melt your damn face to the upside. Okay, so from a technical perspective, that is what I look at. And that is what I classify as sexy technical analysis. So I just want to highlight that. Let me take the brushes out. If I'm analyzing an altcoin that's done this, it's taken the low, Okay, it's not to say that it cannot move up. All it means is it needs to rebuild this structure before you can get the third wave. So some people might tell me, oh, Dewald, you told me that that one doesn't have, is not going to get upwards momentum. I'm never saying it's not going to get upwards momentum. All I'm saying is, so once you've taken the low, it now needs to build this entire structure all by itself, but it needs to start here. So if it's taken this low, okay, so you had a nice little impulse, it went down, it took the low, I cannot count this as a 1, which means it needs to now rebuild that structure so it can still move up. Maybe it makes a bigger one, right? It moves up higher, it comes back down, it makes a lower high, and then you get the face melting price action in that third wave. So these are typically structures that I look at when I do my technical analysis. If I'm analyzing an altcoin that's done this, it took the low, you can still get upwards momentum, but you are not going to get potentially that face melting price action that you are expecting from a typical alt season. Okay, so the rising tide is going to raise all ships. The question is, which ones are going to explode the hardest? You might be looking at an altcoin, okay, that's taken the low, and it's just going to give you that. And that could even be 100, or could even be 100 or 200 or 300%. But if I'm looking at an altcoin where this structure is still intact, you could be looking at 500, 1000%, because the third waves are the most explosive. Okay, right. So now that I've said that, I just wanted to share with you my thinking and what I look at from a technical perspective. Okay. Right, so let's take this out the way. Let's look at Tau. Okay, I know, and for some reason, a lot of people are interested here in Tau. Let me clean up the chart a little bit over here. Let's switch this off. Okay, so what I did here with Tau is I've identified the resistances to the upside. So here is another disclaimer, legends. Here's another disclaimer. Nothing is ever guaranteed in the market. So even if you identify a structure that has a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, that looks great. So now this becomes your 1. Do you guys see what I look at? Okay. If this low has not taken this low, there's a chance that this could be number 2. And it's now building up momentum for that third wave where we just don't know where it's going to go. It can be very punchy, very explosive. Okay. So if I take a fib from this low to the high that we've created, there's a chance, okay, it doesn't look very good, it really doesn't look very good. This retracement went exceptionally deep, and for a wave 2, the maximum target is the 786. It's not an invalidation if the wave 2 goes down deeper, okay, it's just not allowed to claim the low. That's the hard invalidation. Okay, the fact that the second wave over here tapped the 0.88 and almost claimed the low puts this token in a little bit of a risk category, but it's not invalidated. I can count the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inside of each structure, I can count 5 waves. So the impulse looks valid. Okay, it's now the corrective structure that it went down very deep. It went down very steep here to the downside. So this, ladies and gentlemen, if you want face melting price action to the upside, it's not allowed to claim this low. If it claims the low over here, let's say it falls back down and it claims the low, it has to build the structure again in order before you can get face melting price action back to the upside. Okay, hope that makes sense. Right, what often happens, like 9 out of 10 times, what I have seen happen on most of the altcoins is if it does take the low, it usually swing failures the low. Okay, it grabs the liquidity, it stops everyone out, and you can still get a bounce to the upside. But when I see this and this where it claimed the low, you need to aggressively take profits at your resistance areas, because it could create a lower high and continue momentum to the downside. So this is also part of my exit strategy where I'm accumulating on some of my favorite altcoins. If the favorite altcoins that I'm looking at from a technical perspective, if they claim this low or this low, I have an exit strategy. My exit strategy is it grabs the liquidity, it finds acceptance back above, and I start closing my position as price moves up until I'm out. That's my exit strategy. Because once you do this, it decreases the probabilities of having massive momentum to the upside. Okay, I just want to get out of those tokens and then look at other ones that still have bullish structures that are intact. Okay, this Tau chart is missing history. Look at Mexi chart. Right, I don't need the Mexi chart, guys. This structure that I have here is good enough for me to look at Tau. Okay, because it's this structure that's going to determine whether it turns bullish or not. So the low needs to be protected. Something else that I looked at over here is to say that, well, if this is a corrective structure to the downside, doesn't make sense. Did it find its feet and did it hit a proper Fibonacci level? So I take a fib from the high to the low over here. Okay, you did tap. A little bit of a rare target, but it's a target nonetheless. It's finding its feet at the 786, which is a 3-wave corrective structure target. Okay, I'm not going to go into too much detail with every single altcoin, otherwise I'm going to be here for 10 hours, right? I just want to see from a regular perspective which target we hit. Okay, it's the 0.618, which is also a 3-wave target. So there's a chance, okay, that this low will hold, and now you want to basically start accumulating in the zone over here. Just want to take the scribble here out the way. Right, trends. Okay, I love trends on altcoins. I love them on altcoins. Right, from a larger time frame perspective, the best time to start thinking about swing trades is this low is protected. It smashes through these resistance areas and it breaks out and it consolidates outside of the trend, closing high time frame candles above. This is usually where I get interested in swing trades. The most obvious pivot that needs to be claimed in the short term is this one over here. Okay, if it can start changing market structure, has it done that already? No. You can see here you have a high, you have lower high, lower high, lower high. It needs to start changing market structure. That's also something that I always pay attention to. It needs to smash out here. Even if it rejects at the trend, you now have a higher high. Finally, you have a higher high. It could come back down, make a higher low, and then break out. Okay, I always look at market structure change. The best pivot to claim is this one, but it's very far away. Okay, right, so that is basically in a nutshell what I see here on Mr. Tau. Okay, let's go on, let's move on. Right, legends, I've got someone asked for Fala network, right? Fala network looks like one of those that's just pump and dumps the whole time. Okay, you can see here on the daily time frame, it pumps, it dumps, it pumps, it dumps, but it finds the support at the same floor. So that is great. Okay, but then it pumps and it dumps. So on Fala network, it does not have a bullish 1-2. It claimed the low, but it can still give you a nice little pump and dump. It claimed the low, swing failure pattern. Okay, so this is not a 1-2 and it's just going to rip here in face melting price action to the upside. It can repeat the structure, definitely. Okay, so now you guys can see what I've said here is that, you know, these are the tokens that I look at to say that Fala network can still do this and do this again. But I don't think it's just going to melt your face with massive momentum to the upside that just doesn't slow down. This really looks like it likes to pump and dump and pump and dump. And it's most likely going to find upwards momentum and come back down here. So this is why if you are investing in Fala network, you need to be aggressive with profit taking. Okay, luckily Fala network claimed the highs over here. I remember trading Farla Network. I closed my position. Can't remember at the 1.618 is where I closed my position. Okay, I measured this impulse, and I think there was a 1 to 1.618, and I closed my position over there. Took all of my profits. I didn't leave any position open. So now, purely from a simple technical analysis, and you guys can see that I have my trend already marked out over here. Okay, I already have my trend marked out. Just going to leave it over there, and I'm going to wait for the break of the trend. I want time frame. I want some high time frame candle closes above the trend, and I want that high even more so to be claimed. I want to see the breakout. You want to see a higher high, market structure change, higher low for continuation to the upside. This is one of those tokens that I really like. You get in, you get out, because when it accelerates very fast, and it corrects very long. So if you can catch these little moves, look at how quickly they accelerate to the upside. You get in, you get out, done. Couple of days, the trade is done. Okay, look how long it takes to correct. So if it does this again, I think it's going to accelerate to the upside, and it's most probably going to take forever and ever and ever and ever to correct again. So it's just looking at the history of this token. Right. From a spot bag perspective, I mean, this is a good time, right, legends? When you hit the floor, as you can clearly see over here, this is a good time to accumulate, right? You can see it. It's been so well respected. When you come back down here, this is where you want to start load up. This is when you want to build your spot positions or even your swing positions. It's already claimed all of the liquidity below this low. So there's a chance that the low is in, it's going to break the trend, and it's going to start, finding its feet here and start doing this and this all over again. That's basically the simplicity of what I see on Farla Network, right? Okay. Kate, please, why do some charts pump and dump? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know why some charts just pump and dump, right? It could be because they have small market caps. It could be that the project teams are, they bullshit people with good news and bad news and manipulation. I don't know, right? I don't know. I'm just here to trade the technicals. What I can tell you guys now is that if I had to buy Farla Network, I would be a little bit more patient. Because I missed this, if I saw this, the swing failure from the lows, I would have most probably scooped up a little bit. But now I'm going to have to wait for the trend to break over here. But I can tell you now, I'm going to be very aggressive with profit taking here to the upside. Okay, I mean, look at this, resistance. I won't even wait for the highs to be claimed, because you have massive resistance over here. Okay, I would be happy from where price is here at the moment. Okay, that's 100% move. On tokens like these that likes to pump and dump, I will just get in, get out, done, right? Go move on. Look at something else. Look at something like Link. Look at something like ICP. Look at, there's many other altcoins that have way better fundamentals and history where it doesn't do pump and dumps. So this one is, you're not married to this token. You get in, you do your business, you get out. Okay. Okay, right, legends, that is Farla Network. Then we have Solana. A lot of people are looking at Solana. Whew. Guys, I don't like, I mean, Solana can definitely find upwards momentum, but I don't like where it is from a structural perspective. Okay, and I could be completely wrong over here, legends, and let me explain. Okay, so from a structural perspective, I see a 1-2-1-2. It has a beautiful double 1-2. It respects all the rules of Elliot wave theory. It looks sexy. When you see a double 1-2, you want a double 4-5 to the upside. So when I count the structure over here, 1-2-1-2, 3-4-5-4-5, it looks like it's done. Okay. So I was thinking to myself this morning, well, what if, okay, this is the most bullish case scenario, what if? So I just want to make you guys aware that there's a chance that this high is in on Solana. because Solana has really done some amazing things already to the upside. While all the other altcoins were sleeping, Solana had a massive rampage to the upside. And perhaps it's time for Solana to cool off a little bit. From a buying perspective or a consolidation perspective, it is finding support inside of this consolidation area. That is where Solana found support. Okay, if it successfully breaks out, okay, you have resistance. Look at that beautiful resistance. Definitely, guys, you need to take profits. It doesn't matter how bullish you are on any altcoin. You have to pay yourself when you start hitting resistance. If you have invested $1,000 over here in Solana, just take your $1,000 out at least and let the profits run. But at least take your investment out, so that if it backfires on you, you didn't lose any money. Yes, you lost all of your profits, but you didn't lose your investment. Okay. So from a bearish case perspective, Solana could be finished with its structures, with its structure here to the upside. Do you guys remember OM, mantra? What it did to the downside? Okay. Right, but there's a chance. And now what I was thinking this morning, well, what if, okay, now this is the most bullish case scenario. What if this is 3, this is 4, and there's another fifth leg to the upside? What if I counted the structure incorrectly, where this was 5, this was 3, and this was 4? It's the only bullish count that I can see here structurally for Solana. If it's going to still climb to the upside, maybe it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, and it has one more leg to the upside. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, structurally, the scenario actually looks better. Okay. And basically what I'm trying to highlight over here is that Solana is nearing the end of its structure. So from a technical perspective, this is always something that I pay attention to, even on Bitcoin. Okay, when you have ones here at the bottom, and you can already count a third wave, and you are starting to count fifth waves to the upside, this is where I start exiting my positions. I don't care if it goes higher, but when I can already count a 3 and I can already count a 5 after the structure to the downside, this for me is usually a zone where I start exiting my positions. Some of the altcoins like Dogecoin, like Link, they are still here. I cannot count third waves yet. Okay, so on those altcoins I am more bullish because they are still here. Where Solana, I'm already counting fifth waves to the upside. So it's not really a great place where you want to start accumulating. Okay, if you don't have a Solana back at lower levels, this is not really a zone where you want to be aggressive. For me, from a technical perspective, yes, it can still make another high to the upside, and it could even go to $1,000. It has the chance to even go to $1,000, but it's nearing the end of its structure, where it could it could either be done, okay, or it's going to make one more high. I think if we use the theory or the theory that what if we do still get an altcoin season? The raising tide is going to raise all ships. Maybe that's going to be the last fifth wave for Solana. Okay. Now, regardless of Elliot wave theory and whatever nonsense I have spoken up, because you might be thinking to yourself, you know, because some people get so bullish and so married to their little altcoin, okay, that they ignore technical analysis and they just believe that this thing is going to overtake Ethereum and overtake Bitcoin. You know, the flippening is going to happen, right? So let's take Elliot wave theory out of the scenario completely. From a technical, just a technical trading perspective, okay, let's go here onto the regular scale. Solana looks like it's breaking out. Okay. So from a trading perspective, it was range bound over here. It was range bound. It broke out, flipped it into support and had one more high. It now lost resistance. Okay. And it found support at the bottom of the range. beautiful. This is a zone where you look for longs. It's now breaking the trend and it's consolidating outside. So it has, on the medium time frame over here, it has some bullish signs. But I can tell you guys now, if I am building a position here on Solana, I will definitely take a lot of profit when we hit resistance. What if it does this and it just continues sideways and you don't take profits, you get stopped out, okay, or you just back at square one? Can Solana do this? Of course, no one knows what the market is going to do. But when I see clear resistance to the upside, okay, I'm planning to take play this move over here. So if I have to now plan out the trade, and I'm spending a little bit more time here on Solana because I know that Solana, you know, is one of those where everyone wants to know what's happening with Solana. Okay, so if you're building a position in this zone over here, you're targeting your resistance box, your stop loss is below the low. The risk to reward for me does not make sense. 1.5 risk to reward, it's not a trade that I'm willing to take unless Solana comes down. If Solana can come down and form a higher low, retest the trend, you can have a better entry, and then the risk to reward is super sexy. Anything over 2, I would even say 3 should be your minimum on your altcoins. You don't want to trade something that has a risk to reward of less than 3. 2 is my minimum, but 3 is the best, okay? If you're entering right now where Solana is, you have a 1-to-1, you're gambling. This is a gamble because you're going to lose the same amount of money as what you're potentially going to make to the upside. What if Solana does this? Stops you out, you've lost half of your capital over here. It's not a risk that I'm willing to take on my portfolio. Okay, so I just want to highlight that. Unless there's always another way to get in here with better risk management. There's always another way to get in over here where you potentially don't have to put your stop loss below the low. And you're going to have to go into the smaller time frames. 1 hour, 15-minute time frame, and you play the breakouts. Let's see over here. I mean, you know, this is what you need to pay attention to. There was a nice little breakout over here. Okay, you could have had an entry below the trend. Beautiful risk to reward. Stop goes below the low, price breaks out, and now you can, you know, put your stop below this low already. Right, and as price moves up, you can continuously moving up your stop loss to protect your position and de-risking yourself. Okay, so there's many trading strategies on the smaller time frames to protect a larger position that you are playing. The last breakout that Solana saw over here was this little breakout. Okay, over here. Not an easy one. It's a very difficult one over here, but now, you know, you could have, this to me is more of a day trade. You enter, stop below the lows, maybe you do a FIP pool and, you know, you're taking profits a little bit higher. But it's not forming a beautiful trend to get back in. Where Solana is at the moment is a no trade zone for me. I want to see a proper trend. It needs to form a proper trend for me to get in. Stop goes below the low, you play the breakout, take profits at the highs, or if it's a bigger position that you're building, okay, you can leave it. So there are ways to get into these breakouts still with good risk management, and this is what I'm highlighting over here, legends, is if maybe, you know, Solana goes up here, it forms another trend, you could get in. Okay, maybe it does that and it breaks out, then you can have a tighter stop loss. You don't have to put your stop loss here below this low. Okay, so there are ways and tricks to get into the trade, but from a spot bag perspective, I like to focus on the daily time frame. Okay, and on the daily time frame, if the trade doesn't make it worth it for me, I usually stay out. Some might even argue, well, Dewald, what if the highs, you know, what if we don't know, legends, we don't know if it's going to go higher. You don't know, but you want to respect the resistance. This is the most obvious resistance right over there. Okay, cool. That is the technical analysis here on Solana. It looks like it wants to move up. It is breaking the trends. Momentum looks like it's shifting to the upside, but If I cannot exercise good risk management on a trade, I don't take it. Even if Solana does this, I don't care. Okay, I have a spot bag of Solana, but I bought at way cheaper levels. Okay, but I would rather stay out of a trade because I need to follow my rules and I need to stick to my technical analysis. Okay, right, legends. Remember, Solana and all these tokens can be traded with the links down in the description, where you get 20% cash back on the money that you deposit in your futures account. The rules are you need to leave your money there for 3 days. Okay, you also get 25% discount on your trading fees. Right, cool, legends. I will go, guys. I know I can see all the comments coming through here at the moment. Injective protocol, HBAR, Atom, AR. I'm getting there. If you've joined the live stream a little bit late, okay, I've done the positioning and what I'm going to do in this live stream during the beginning of the stream. Okay, so guys, I'm going to get there. There's still a couple I want to go through, and then I'm going to take most of the requests here on the live stream. Okay. The first ones will go slow because I'm explaining to you from a technical perspective what I look at. Okay, and as I go through more altcoins, it will go quicker and quicker and quicker because I don't have to explain everything that I said from a structural, higher high, whatever the case might be. Okay, so let's look at Say. Say actually looks better. Now, this is where I start getting a little bit more excited. Okay, Say, I just don't know why the candles are so blurry on Say. For some reason, I mean, if you guys look here at Solana, it looks way better. But every time I go into Say, it's like it blurs up. But anyways, I hope you guys can see the price action over here. But Say looks better. Let's go to the log scale. Right, now I can go a little bit faster. Okay, I've counted this Say. You will see, guys, you will most probably notice the structures that are counted in detail already, okay, are maybe tokens that I'm also interested in adding or buying at the moment, right? Because I need to do proper technical analysis before I decide to add anything to my portfolio. Right, so Say looks good. It looks like this low could potentially be protected for now. Okay, it had the nice impulse here to the upside, and all of this looks like a corrective structure. 3-wave corrective structure. I don't care if it's an A, B, C. I don't care if it's a W, X, Y. W, X, Y corrective structures are usually longer in time and they take way longer to play out. Okay. What I'm looking at here on Say, and its little brother, Sui, also looks really good. I'm going to go through Sui now. Its little brother or sister, however you want to look at it. But what is very interesting, when you take a fib from the high, okay, from the high to the low of W, and then to the high of X. So you do a trend-based fib from the high to the low to the high to go and measure the 3-wave structure target. It tapped the 1-to-1 extension to perfection and it got the bounce. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a very common 3-wave corrective structure target. So there's a chance that the low is in on Mr. Say over here and it's going to bounce and the corrective structure has come to an end. Okay, I think one of the things that baffles my mind at the moment is that people that are still calling for much lower levels. When I look at most of the altcoins where I'm doing technical analysis, and you look at daily structures that are hitting targets to come to an end, the corrective structures are coming to an end and it's hitting very good targets, I can't help but think something is brewing and something is around the corner. Okay. So Say, from a simplicity perspective, looks really great. And I mean, I can count an ABC inside of this structure, A, B, C, D, E, and a B, and a C wave to the downside. Targets has been respected. You have a corrective structure and an X to the upside, and then you have another A, B, C to the downside, where this target has been respected. What I want to see over here is that if I go and I just measure the C wave to the downside, I think it has overextended. Okay, it tapped the almost tap the 2 extension. I just want to see what it looks like on the regular scale. Also the 1-to-1 extension. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's tap the 1-to-1 extension. Okay. Legends, you know, say it needs to find its feet where it is right now, because it's getting into very dangerous territory. So from a simplicity perspective, I didn't create folders here for say. Okay. If I go here onto the 8-hour time frame, okay, the simplicity, make sure that you have your trend. Make sure that you have your trend. Say is breaking out. It's trading above the trend. Bullish sign, okay? I don't care how bearish Bitcoin looks and how bearish everyone is. I'm looking at the technicals in front of me, okay? Say is now breaking this local trend over here at the moment. Just want to see if on the 1-hour time frame, say is breaking out. Can it hold? It looks like green volume is starting to kick in. Can you guys see? I'm tracking this bad boy over here. I'm very interested in say, by the way. Okay, but I am trading with good risk management and I have an exit strategy, right? But this, you know, from a day trading, you miss the breakout, you wait for the consolidation, it forms another trend, and now it's breaking out again. So say looks good. Really, the macro structure still looks really well intact and well respected. I mean, you guys can see how that 1-to-1 extension, look at this 1-to-1 extension. It was literally tapped and it bounced. Beautiful to see that. Really beautiful to see that. Okay, next alt on the list. And guys, remember to smash up that like button. Okay, remember to smash up that like button. Okay, so let's go. Doge. Legends. Now, what I want to discuss with Doge is when I... Okay, what I want to discuss here on Doge is bluffing. Okay, people have asked me, why on earth did you put Doge in spin the wheel? Let me see if it's still there. Yes, here we go. Just wait for that to load up. On bluffing, okay, if you're an existing user or you sign up for the new time, every time you move 10,000 worth in volume, you can spin this wheel. And I've asked the team to put Doge in here. And now I'm going to explain to you why I put Doge in the wheel. Okay, Doge is not there just because it's a cool token and no, I put it there for a very specific reason. Okay, you will see, I asked the team, they asked me, Dewald, which altcoin do you want your community to win when they spin the wheel? And I said, Doge. And I'm going to explain to you why. And I could be wrong, but I mean, it's bullish until invalidated, right? So on the daily time frame. Okay, now. And by the way, Doge and Link has the exact same structure. Just by the way. Okay, so when I look at Doge over here, from the low that was created in October 2023, Doge for me is one of those meme coins that everyone knows about. It's most probably the first meme coin. It was created as a joke, and then Elon got involved, and you know, the rest is, the rest is history. We all know about Doge, but it was very frustrating for me having a Doge bag, and every other new stupid meme coin that's being launched, like Peanut and Fartcoin and all these, you know, we've had massive rages and rampages from most of the altcoins, and then Doge just did nothing. Yes, it had a little bit of a rally, but it didn't have that face-melting price action that we would have expected from Mr. Doge. Pepper did way better things. Okay, I think even Shiba Inu did better than Doge. But when I look at the structure, I think something is coming. I think Doge, I think we're going to see articles about people saying, shit, now Doge is doing what all the other meme coins did in the past. Finally, it's waking up. I think those titles and news events are on the horizon until invalidated. Okay, so from a bullish perspective, this is what I'm looking at. Okay, why always the kids from India that are spamming? Who is spamming here in the comments? Who's spamming here in the comments? Right? If there's any spammers, I know the mods will take care of them. Okay, I know the mods will take care of them. Myro, oh, I see. Everyone is saying Myro. Guys, please, you just have to ask for your altcoin once. And when I open up the floor to altcoin requests, then you can ask. Okay. So let me finish the altcoins that I have here, and then I'm going to go through the comments and I'm going to go through the altcoins that you are looking at. But you don't have to spam the comments now, okay, with your requests. I'm not looking at them at the moment. I want to finish the list that I've got here, and then I'm going to go through all of your requests, and then you can spam the comments. Okay. Cool. So, legends, the reason I'm bullish here on Doge is because of this. This, ladies and gentlemen, could potentially be a double 1-2. And the more 1-2s you have, the more bullish. Okay? And it has a clear invalidation. If Doge is going to tap 0.8 cents, I will execute my exit strategy. But as long as it does not tap 0.8 cents, I think there is something in the making here for Mr. Doge. It is building a very bullish structure, which could create an explosive third wave to the upside, but not just any third wave, a beautiful third wave, because when it builds a double 1-2 or a triple 1-2 to the upside, you usually get face melting price action. So Mr. Doge is showing signs that this is an incredibly build up of something that's going to happen, and hence we haven't seen that face melting price action yet, because it's still building its spring. It's building its spring. It's getting prepared. Okay. So, it had a low. It created a beautiful higher low. And I went and I did technical analysis on this structure. There's a beautiful 5-wave structure inside of this wave. This is what you want to see. You want to see 5 waves inside of each impulse. There's 5 waves inside of this impulse. Beautiful. It had beautiful 3-wave corrective structures. I actually think that this was a, if I'm not mistaken, a WXY. I can't remember. Anyways, it doesn't really matter, legends. The most important thing that you have to know about this Doge structure is everything that happens now after this low. This is what's now important. This structure needs to remain bullish in order to get that explosion to the upside. The structure should not take the low. And the reason I like Doge is because it's still very far from the low. Very far. Which means that even if Bitcoin takes another dip to the downside, it will be able to absorb that dip to the downside. Because it can still come to the 786, which is all the way at 11 cents. 786 is still a massively bullish target when you take a fib from the high, from the low to the high. It's still a massively bullish target. It also has confluence with a trend that has not been tapped. So the reason I like Doge so much is that yes, it can find momentum from where it is at the moment. It doesn't have to come to the 786. But even if Bitcoin does go and crash now to the downside and it takes the lows again at $74,000, there's a good chance that some of the other altcoins are going to invalidate this low because they are so close. But Doge still has a lot of breathing room. Loads of breathing room. Okay. So from a bearish case perspective, and maybe even from a better buying perspective, I would love to scoop out Doge at 11 cents. Love it, love it, love it. But there's a chance that the corrective structure has come to an end. Let me just do some of these levels again. Okay, let me take this one out, clean it up. Okay, so from a corrective structure perspective, let's go back to regular. Okay. If I'm measuring this structure from a corrective perspective, ABC, WXY, it looks better as a ABC. Actually, this counts way better as an ABC. You are tapping common C wave targets. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Right. Can it come down here to the 618? Yes, but then you're going to invalidate the structure. And this is where I will execute my exit strategy. So if I'm building, okay, I like to explain both the bullish and bearish case scenarios. I can't just be that person that says, guys, buy like a crazy person over here. It's guaranteed to melt your face. I can't. But what I can tell you guys is if I'm accumulating over here and Doge does invalidate the structure, that is where I activate my exit strategy. This 1.618 is still a 3-wave structure target, but I can almost guarantee you, okay, nothing's ever for certain, it's going to bounce. And maybe it creates a lower high and it continues to the downside. And this is where I exit my position. I will not exit at a loss. No ways. I will not exit at a loss. I will be patient and I will activate my exit strategy. Okay. Right. So that is why I'm so bullish on Doge. Let's move on. Okay. Sui. And some of the tokens that I'm obviously going through here is in the request that I see here inside the comments as well. Okay. So, let's look at Sui over here. Okay, Say and Sui, brother and sister. Okay, let's see what is cooking here with Sui. So Sui is very similar to Doge, but it could also be building a different structure. The good news is I'm still seeing upwards momentum. Okay, so from a contracting perspective, Sui has formed a 1. And the reason it's in red, the reason I put this structure in red, because for me it's not the highest probable structure to the upside. But Sui has already formed its 1, beautiful 2, and this could be the end of number 3 over here. So you still expect a 5 in a contracting diagonal. You still expect a 5 to the upside. Okay, what you would like to see for this 4 is not to go and tap the 0.618. It needs to, at the minimum, you can see where it's finding support. It's at the 382, and the 382 is a 4th wave target. The 50% is a 4th wave target. So this zone is a really good zone for Sui to find support and bounce to go and make another high, claiming this high over here. Okay, this is the conservative target that I have for Sui. Maybe let's give it a round little number. I see a target of $10 for Sui. Okay, that is still what, a 5x here to the upside. It's still insane. It's still crazy because Sui could be building a 5-wave contracting diagonal. Then we go into a bear market. It forms a 3-wave structure to the downside. Okay, a 13-month, a year bear market. This little structure could be the bear market, and then it's going to go up for its macro 3rd wave, where this is 1, this is 2, and then it will go up for its macro 3rd wave. So I just want to highlight this from a conservative perspective. There is a more bullish structure that if it loses this zone, then maybe it is a 112, exactly like Doge, and we're going to get face melting price action here to the upside. Right, but I let's just be conservative. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I think I actually do have that structure in here as well. Just want to see, what did I do over here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Anyways, I don't want to talk about that structure. It's too bullish. I just want to look at the conservative structures right over here. Okay, yes, that's what I did. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Okay, then it invalidates the contracting diagonal, and it's actually way more bullish than what we thought. Okay, but even from a conservative perspective, I'm still expecting one more high, which can, from a conservative perspective, easily hit $10. Right? So if it's going to respect the contracting diagonal over here, this is where you want, say, Sui to find its feet. Okay, just keeping it simple. Right, next up, Tau, we've gone through FET, Vchain. Vchain, actually, from a structural perspective, it looked good a couple of weeks or months ago when I looked at it, but it has done something stupid. Okay, so Vchain has went and it did something very stupid. Okay. Right, legends. Remember, as per the beginning of the live stream, I did explain the rules of what I'm looking for. So Vchain has a nice little trend over here. You wait for the break of the trend, you build your position, stop goes below the low, and then you have obvious resistance in this little area over here. Okay, let me do this. Just want to look at the structure. Yeah, I think from a minimum perspective, this is the zone, right? So if you want to get in and you want to get out, and I will explain to everyone now, okay, This low took the lows. So this cannot be counted as a 1, 2, 1, 2. We're going to rip up here. Anyways, this 1, 2 is much larger than this 1, 2. So it gives it low probabilities anyways. But this, you know, from this point to the high, to the low, it's taken the lows. So yes, can it rampage? Definitely. But this is where I pay very much attention to the resistance boxes. You get in, you get out. Can it go higher? Of course. But can it reject? Definitely. Okay. This is not a bullish structure. This is, well, you know, it was a pump and dump, but it took the low. So I cannot count this as a 1 and a 2, and we're going to just rock and roll here to the upside. It has to build the structure again. So yes, can it go up a lot higher? Of course. But it needs to build a 1, 2 in order to get the third wave. So you can still make money. Make no mistake, you can still make money, but it's not as great as some of the other technical coins that I'm looking at the moment. Okay, there was a chance. Okay, and you guys can also see, you know, when I measure out this corrective structure target, when I go fib from the high to the low to the high, what does this corrective structure look like? Look at where it got the bounce at the 1.618, which is considered the maximum target for a corrective structure. So there's a chance that Vchain, I keep on messing them up, that Vchain has made its low. It has tapped a maximum corrective structure target. And then here on the regular scale, if I look at the trend, just want to see, no, it's not breaking out yet. Okay, let's go to the 8 hour. Okay, it is inside a bullish pennant. Has not broken out yet. So you need to decide where you want to build your position, because it can come down and maybe it breaks out, or it consolidates, it makes a higher low, and then it breaks out. Okay. Personally, I know that Andy has some Vchain in his portfolio, but I do not have any Vchain in my portfolio. I used to have, I sold it. Okay. From a fundamental perspective, I don't know. I don't really like the technique. The fact that I just don't like it too much from a technical perspective. Okay. Can it do this? Of course. Of course it can do that. I just like technical tokens that are sexy from a technical perspective. And Vchain is not that sexy for me at the moment. From a trading perspective, maybe I get in and I build a little bit of a swing position. I get in, I get out. Definitely. I mean, that is still a nice little, from the where price is now to the upside, that's still 100% trade. Okay, and from a risk to reward perspective, it's still it's better than Tau, I think, that I looked at. Okay, if I'm not mistaken. So even if you build a position right there, you exit your position there, your stop goes below the low, well, then the risk to reward makes sense for me. Okay, it's not a 1-to-1. It's at least 4 risk to reward. The risk to reward definitely makes sense, but I would like to see some signs of strength. Okay, I would like this high to be claimed. I want to see markets, you still have lower lows and you have lower highs. You need to see market structure change. So before I will even think about a swing position, I will wait for that high to be claimed. It has to claim that high. And if it comes back down, that is where I get interested. Because every impulse has to correct itself. Every impulse has to correct itself. Corrects itself. Corrects itself. Okay, and now this entire impulse has now corrected itself and invalidated the low. Anyways, but there's still some nice trades on Vchain, not gonna lie, still looks good. Okay, now XMR, guys, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time over here. It's a very messy chart. XMR is very messy. Okay, the technicals are it's just, you know, there's nothing else I can do from. All I can see here is that you have support and you have rejected at resistance. So potentially inside these two is where you want to accumulate, and maybe because it's still creating higher lows, and maybe it's going to continue this momentum out of the zone over here. It has broken trend, and it's just not much to say here on XMR. Someone asked for XMR, and I'm going to tell you now from a technical perspective, it's not a sexy structure. What I can tell you, momentum is up. and it's rejected at resistance, and it's finding support over here. So this is potentially a good accumulation zone, and right, it's as long as it can hold support over here, and maybe it will break up and it will go hit the next fib level and the next fib level. You just need to pay yourself on the way up, but it's not a sexy technical chart. Okay, let's move on. I'm not going to spend more time on it because technically it's just not sexy. Then someone asked for ZRO. Yeah, what can I say? Right, what can I say? The only good thing that I see here for ZRO is that it has broken market structure. Very cool. You've made a low, but you've made a high. That's great. So you want this, structure to make a higher low in order to continue. So it looks like it is breaking structure over here. Okay, and it's potentially going to start moving up. So that is a bullish sign that I see over here. I don't have a lot of previous data to look at. So Mr. ZR, this is what I see here on Mr. ZR. So basically, where price is at the moment, it needs to hold itself, because here you have support. Okay, and that is where price is currently finding support. You don't really want to lose the support. Okay, because remember the danger of losing support. If you lose support and it comes back, it retests support as resistance and it can continue to the downside. So this needs to hold. Have your trend ready. Wait for the breakout. Okay. Next up, almost done, guys, and then I'm going to take your requests. Almost done. Okay, next up is Onodo. A lot of people have asked for Onodo as well. Okay, Onodo. I mean, there's not a lot of data. Okay, but what I can tell you guys is that at least it has made a higher low. At least. Okay, looks sexy. It has not claimed these lows yet. So there's a chance, okay, that this is maybe a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is all part of a corrective structure. And from a corrective perspective, it has now tapped the 1.236, which is a very common corrective structure target. Remember, 1 to 1, 1.236 is the most common corrective structure targets. The 1.618 is an extended corrective structure target, and the 618 and the 786 are targets but rare. So Mr. Onodo or Mrs. Onodo is at a very interesting zone. Okay, so it has tapped the target. If I take a fib here from the high to the low, let me see if the structure, okay, is still bullish, intact. I mean, look at that beautiful bounce here, even on the 786. This is the, usually the maximum bullish bouncing area. When you have an impulse to the upside, this is where you want the bounce to happen. Okay, let's go to I'm confusing myself here. Let's go to the log scale. Sorry, the regular scale. I want to go to the regular scale. Okay, Mr. Onodo or Mrs. Onodo is breaking out. Okay, this is usually, guys, for me, this is usually a bullish sign. When you have a large time frame trend on the daily time frame and it's breaking out and it's closing multiple candles outside, that to me is usually a load up zone. It's a bullish sign, at least. Okay, where the low could be protected. You build your position and it's gonna, there's your resistance. Okay. Right, for some reason my mouse got frozen. Hi Dewald, raise please. It has a big market. Yes, looks like all these alts are ready for a big comeback and wants to go. Yes, Godfather, and that's the theme that I'm picking up here, legends. Remember to smash up that like button. Mr. Godfather, I can't agree with you more. I feel myself a little bit at a loss for words, and I don't know how to explain this to everyone, is that there is so much bearishness in the market at the moment. There are so many people calling for this is the start of the bear market, S&P 500, the Nasdaq, the tariffs war from Trump, and Bitcoin is going to make one more low to the downside. And then when I look at all of these altcoins, there's a pattern running through all of these altcoins where most of them are at very good support levels and even maximum corrective structure levels where it looks like a big bounce is imminent. So when I look at the altcoins and I look at the bearish sentiment around Bitcoin, I can't help but think that something's going to happen that's going to surprise everyone. Maybe. Because most of these altcoins are at levels where they're almost going to invalidate their bullish structures. They are at maximum corrective structure targets. So yes, if Bitcoin takes another dump here to the downside, I'm going to tell you now, there's a lot of altcoins that's going to invalidate their bullish structures. A lot of them. So it makes me think of maybe this is the time. This maybe, no, I mean, I've got 95 people watching this live stream. People are not interested in altcoins. No one wants to buy altcoins. Usually when I do a Bitcoin update, I've got over 200, 300 people watching the live streams and thousands of people even watching it after the fact. The fact that we are here, okay, in this stream and I only see 95 people here tells me that maybe, just maybe, this is the right time to buy or to start accumulating. Okay, right, legends, that is Mr. Onodo. Remember to smash up that like button. Okay. Dewald, what is your opinion about Monero? I never heard it from you. Monero, I also never heard it from myself. Jack, say has crossed the second level of the trend based on time level and it's reaching 3 now and has to be the bottom out. Yes, even Jack, I completely agree. I haven't even looked at timing yet. But if you look at the impulses versus how long the corrective structures have taken, some of them are at the 1-to-1, the 2 extension, and even going into the 3rd extension, which shows you even from a timing perspective, the corrections needs to start reversing. Even if it's just a small relief rally back to the upside. Okay, I just can't ignore where most of the altcoins are. They are at very, very interesting levels. Okay, now I'm just, for some reason, I'm deleting all my indicators over here. Okay, let's do this. And for some reason, Onodo is really screwing around. Okay, next up on the list is Atom. Vanu, I have seen your comment. Atom, you've most probably posted a million times. Okay, I have seen your comment. I will go through it, right? Let me go through Algo and then I'm done. I'm going to take some requests. Okay, once I've gone through Algo over here, I'm going to take some requests here from the live stream. Okay, Algo, wow. What I can say, I mean, guys, if you've been following the stream since the beginning, you know exactly what I'm looking at over here. Wow, this looks great. You have a higher low. You have a very quick impulse to the upside and you have a very long corrective structure. And something that Mr. Jack also just highlighted right now is that, even from a timing perspective, I haven't even looked at the time from most of these altcoins. Okay, whether I take it from this pivot or whether I take it from this pivot over here to the, okay, look at where. So, I mean, look at this. I'm taking the time from this pivot and I'm looking at, so this is your impulse. This is maybe your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your correction is now the same length, a little bit longer. You now have a beautiful 1-to-1 extension. So even from a timing perspective, these corrections looks sexy. And I never thought in a million years that I will call technical analysis and structures sexy, but it looks sexy. Okay. Let's go to the log scale. I just want to see something over here. And I mean, yeah, this is definitely could be a 1 wave, 3rd wave. Anyways, let's do this from a fib. Let's see over here. There we go. Okay. Beautiful golden pocket, golden zone tap over here. Beautiful golden tap. Now I want to take a trend-based fib, measure the corrective structure to the downside. High to the low to the high. Okay, I just need to take the time fib stuffs around so I can't see the pivots. Let me just make sure that I have this correctly drawn out. Okay, 3-wave A, 3-wave B, and maybe this could be your Y wave. Almost tapped the 0.618. Almost tapped it. It doesn't have to tap the level, but if it does, it would be great if Algo can come down and tap this level properly, maximum corrective structure target 786, off to the races you go. And this is what I like to see, so that if Bitcoin, let's say Bitcoin falls to the downside, it goes in and claims $74,000, it still has breathing room. Okay, still has breathing room. Very bullish target over here. Also finding support here at the order block. Right, I just want to see from a regular. I like to look at both regular and logarithmic, guys. I need to make sure that the levels are tapped. Okay, 1-to-1 extension. There's a chance that the low is in. Okay, the 1.236 is all the way at the bottom. Okay, but then you're going to invalidate the bullish structure. But then I will activate my exit strategy. Okay, right. So from a trend line perspective, it's already broken out. That one is not broken. Okay, but here on the smaller time frames, broken, about to be broken. Okay, it's already breaking out. Okay, you guys are going to have to go into the smaller time frames and play the breakouts over there. But I mean, this is the main trend, okay, that you want to pay attention to. This is the the mama trend over here, right? So I'm just going to keep an eye on that. Obviously, what I would like to see here is you need to claim that high. I want to see some local market structure change. Even if you reject by the trend, you now have a higher high. Okay, you find support again, you make a higher low, and then you punch out. Okay, or it just, you guys know sometimes the altcoins, they just do this, right? It accelerates and it leaves you behind. Okay, but Algo still looks really great. Fundamentally, the low looks like it's protected for now. The structure still has breathing room, even if you claim the low to the downside. So whoever asked me to look at Algo, it looks great. I like it. Fundamentals looks great for me as well. I encourage you to do your own research as always. And now, legends, now I will take Mr. Sin Games. Welcome. I haven't seen you. Now, legends, I'm going to take some requests. Dewald. Altcoins, Dewald, altcoins are giving us anxiety at the moment. Well, I'm here to learn because I don't even want to look at the graphs on mine. Yeah, it's insane, right? It's insane. Turbo, please. Okay, my account was blocked for ages. Finally, I'm back. Well, I'm not sure why your account was blocked. I didn't block it from my side. I can guarantee you, Mr. Sin Games, I didn't block it from my side. Okay, but I'm glad to see you here. Welcome back. Haven't seen you in a while, so welcome back, Mr. Sin Games. Situs, please. Okay, let's take some requests. Situs, trades and transport, XRP. Dewald, can you look at TIA, Jasmy, AR? Okay, guys, let's go. First up, and the request that I'm going through now, I will leave the comment here on the screen. I'm going to leave the comment on the screen so that I know which altcoin I'm talking to, and just put it there. Let me just make it smaller so that it's not in the way. And then as I go through the altcoins, I will change that comment. Okay, cool. So now, remember guys, if you give me the wrong ticker and I can't find it, I'm going to move on. I don't want to waste anyone's time. Okay. Situs, does it have a KuCoin? No. Let's try Mexi. Actually looks not too bad, I must say. It doesn't look bad. Okay, I like these bullish structures that have not invalidated themselves. Okay, so on Situs, however you pronounce it, momentum is up. The trend is your friend until the very end. You still have a low here that looks like it's protected, and this is creating still an insane higher low. Okay, it's finding support here above the highs. From a corrective structure perspective, this could be a double 1-2. Dare I even say 1-2, 1-2, and it's just going to rip you to the upside. Okay, but the low needs to hold. For this to turn out to be a double 1-2 and an explosive third wave to the upside, this low needs to hold. It's still very far away. which tells me that even if Bitcoin continues a little bit further to the downside, it still has a lot of breathing room. So based on the technicals that I'm seeing over here, Situs actually looks fundamentally very strong. Okay, I don't even have to look at the fundamentals. I look at the technicals of a token to see how healthy the project is. And I can tell you now, guys, now I don't know Situs, but it looks really good. Okay. Obviously, from a trend base or a Fibonacci perspective, it's finding support inside of the golden pocket. I mean, maximum bouncing area that you want to see is 6 cents. So for me, all of this will be great load up zone. All of this is great load up zone. Find support above these highs over here if it does want to come down to the downside. Okay. And then lastly, you know, the trend. I like to look at the trends on the regular scale, and I like to look at Fibonacci levels and retracements on the log scale. Okay, it's just my style of technical analysis. Okay, it still has some. It still needs to. Maybe it's still. You know, maybe it's still gonna break out over here. Okay, you've got obviously resistance. You need to take profits when you start hitting resistance, but the structure looks healthy. The structure looks really good, I must say. Okay, even from a timing perspective. Okay, from a timing perspective, low to high, it's already past the 1-to-1. It needs to do something. It's already past the 1-to-1. Can it still go to the 23rd of May? Of course it can go there. But the structure, the bullish structure is still intact. So say Situs looks really good. Where are we? It's YouTube. I came to Morocco and they blocked. Oh, it's YouTube. I came to Morocco and they blocked my account. I had to go back to my PC in the UK and now it's working again. Wow. Right. Okay. Well, it's great to have you back, Mr. Sin Games. Can you take a look at sheep for me, Dewald? Okay. Shiba Inu. Let's go. Sheep USDT. I do have it. For some reason, Shiba Inu is on my rate list. Let's go see why Shiba is on my rate list. Okay, HBAR is also on my rate list. It's not to say that it can't pump, but I know that I've put specific tokens in my rate list, and I just want to figure out why. Right, here is Mr. Shiba Inu. I mean, Shiba Inu just did amazing things here to the upside, okay? I think it never ceases to amaze me when I look at this from a fib extension perspective, okay? Look at this, guys. I don't even have enough levels on my Fibonacci. I need to go and switch on the 5.6618, 6.618. I need to switch on more levels to see where this thing ended up at, okay? Look at Shiba Inu. When you take this little measurement, okay, to see where your third wave extended to, or your impulse extended to, do you guys see it? 5.618, 3, it just smashed. Your 4.618 is there in the middle. I just forgot to switch it on. Okay, but this is the price action that I failed to see from Bitcoin. And I think, you know, when you have a 1-2-1-2, look at what happens. Look at what happens. Third waves don't have targets. They just love 618 levels. They can go 1.618, 2, 618, 3, 618, 4. It can just go and it doesn't stop. Okay, Shiba Inu found its feet here by the 5.618. So maybe that's, you know, Doge is here. Doge is here, guys. Can you guys see why I'm so bullish on Doge? Because I'm expecting something similar to this. Whether it's the 2.618 or the 3.618, Doge is lagging behind. It had a beautiful double 1-2, and look at what you get after you have a double 1-2. Anyways, okay. Now, what I want to look at over here for Shiba Inu is ABC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so that could be an ABC and a W, X, Y. Let's go. And did I measure this out? Just want to make sure. Yes, I measured this out. Corrective struct. Shiba Inu has found support here at the 0.618. It's usually a minimum target for a Y wave. But it is rare, but it's a target nonetheless. So you have formed an ABC in W to create this low, and then you've gone up for an X wave they created a lower high, and now you have gone down for a Y wave. Okay, which means the low could be in over here, and then now you're going to build an impulsive structure back to the upside. But this could also be an A, B, C, D, E, and then it breaks out. Very similar structure to Litecoin. It's not to say that this one is just going to do this. I think Shiba Inu has already had its time to shine. Like, this was insane price action to the upside. It actually looks like it's building a larger triangle. Can you guys see over here? It's building I wouldn't be surprised for this to be an A, a B, a C, not a WXY. It goes up for a D and an E, and then it breaks out. But I mean, there's still money to be made. Okay, but this low needs to be protected if it's going to be... No, sorry guys, it can't be an A, B, C, D, E. This low took this low. It's not allowed to do that. It's not allowed to. Sorry, I did not see that. Okay. It can't be an A, B, C. This C is not allowed to take this low. So it has to be a WXY. Okay. Anyways, let's go to the log scale. Yeah, I mean, it's hitting the 786. It's okay. It's guys, the reason why it's in my red list is it's not a clear structure. It can go many ways. I can see that this could be a potential WXY. It is hitting minimum targets. It can still hit the 1-to-1 extension, which is more common. Okay, even here, right? Even on the regular scale, it's hitting minimum targets. It can still go to the 786. Right, it's very unlikely it's going to go to the 1-to-1 extension, because then the project's going to be dead. But the reason I don't have Shiba Inu, and the reason why it's in my red folder, is I don't like the structure from a spot bag perspective, from an accumulation perspective. I don't like it. Can it get the bounce? As I said in the beginning of the live stream, a rising tide will raise all the ship. Can it get a bounce? Of course. I just think that there are tokens out there where this structure is still bullish. They are over here, where this could be a 1, 2, 3. Okay, I just don't like where Shiba Inu is at the moment. Okay, and right, it's in my rate list. Technically, for me, Shiba Inu is not a sexy structure, and this is why I'm not in Shiba Inu. This is why I don't have a spot bag at the moment. Okay, you don't have to have 1,000 altcoins or 50 altcoins in your spot bag to make money. I can tell you guys now, you can have 6, 7, 8 altcoins in your spot bag, and you will still make the same amount of money, if not more, than someone that has 50 or 100 altcoins in their spot bag. Okay. You don't have to over leverage yourself in altcoins. You can just pick like that 7, 8, 6, even 10, okay, altcoins. And I can tell you now, you will make, if not more money than someone that has 50 to 100 altcoins in their portfolio, because 150 altcoins are insanely difficult to manage. Some of them dump. Maybe you have Ohm in your portfolio. Now you've lost one. Now you're hoping for the other ones to carry that one. How do you manage them? How do you know where to take profits on 100 altcoins? You must be going insane trying to manage all these things. Where's the profit taking area? Are you doing technical analysis on every single 100 altcoins every single day as price? So let's say, you know, the alt season starts kicking in and you've got resistances and supports identified. The one hits resistance. Do you have an alarm? Do you go? You're just making too much work for yourself, okay, by having too many altcoins. I can trade 1 or 2 altcoins and I can still make the same amount, potentially even more money than someone that has 100 altcoins in their portfolios. Okay, you just, because you can manage your trade, you can look, you know exactly where to take profits. It's easier to chart. You're looking at an altcoin that has a sexy bullish structure. You're not just, oh, I've heard about this influencer talking about this altcoin, I'm just buying it. And then it does nothing, or it dumps, it drags your portfolio down. And now you have to wait for another altcoin to pick your portfolio up again. Less is more at the end of the day for me, guys. I can tell you guys now, I don't have a lot of altcoins in my portfolio. I cleaned it up quite significantly. Okay. And I can, yeah, I will share my portfolio with everyone once we get the altcoin season. I'll show you, but you will get a good idea inside of these live streams, the key fundamental ones that I'm looking at. Okay, right, let's move on. I know a lot of people, Mr. Godfather, I know you want to look at Crow. Okay, I know you want to look at Crow, but I've looked at Crow many times, and I will get to it, but I know HBAR has been requested many times. Okay, so let's go and look at HBAR. HBAR for some reason is in my red list, but not because it's a bearish token. In fact, HBAR is in my red list because it's too bullish. Okay, right, legends. HBAR, the reason... Okay, guys, I mean, I cannot deny the fact that HBAR is insanely bullish, right? Look at where it is right now. Even on a regular scale, it is now only tapped the golden pocket, okay, and almost the 786. It's finding support. Look at where it's finding support inside of the consolidation area. So there's a chance for a massive bounce and continuation to the upside, where this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is your corrective structure, and it's just going to rock and roll here to the upside. The reason I don't have HBAR in my portfolio is because I bought at lower levels, and because it still has so much breathing room, I will add when it comes down to lower levels. Then I will add HBAR back to my portfolio. But HBAR actually looks fantastic. But because it looks so fantastic, it's not at a place where I want to load up necessarily. I just want to hold on to what I already have, because I bought at much lower levels. Okay, I bought at much lower levels. So I'm still in profits. I don't really want to add in over here and drag up my entry, considering how much it can still go down. Okay, and this is what I mean. If you go to the log scale, okay, HBAR is only now tapped a 50% Fibonacci. Okay, it's kind of, when you look at this structure here to the upside, it's kind of the only support that there is. The only other support is here by the golden pocket, a little bit of support by the golden pocket, and there's a little bit of support here, okay, above the 786. But because it's so high compared to most of the altcoins, I don't like to buy high. I like to buy lower. It's too high for me to add, but it is finding support, and there's a good chance it's going to break out and continue. I'm happy to hold what I've got, but I'm not buying more. I don't want to take my entry from down lower over here and unnecessarily drag my entry up, and it goes below my entry, and now I'm forced to add more to my bags to drag my entry down again. So the reason it's on my red list is because it's actually too bullish. Okay, stupid. It might be a stupid reason to you, but I have my reasons in terms of how I build up my portfolios. From a trend line perspective, okay, it's almost breaking out. Not so much yet. Okay, I might do a swing trade on this. Definitely, I will consider a swing trade on this. Just put on my alarm. And, right, there we go. Legends, remember... Okay, I'll wait. Godfather, I'm going to do your crow. Don't worry, I'm going to do your crow. Okay. Remember to smash up that like buttons, legends. I see the live stream is very constant. I've got 95, 96 people, 110, 111 people. Very constant, but people are not interested in altcoins for some reason, okay? People don't want altcoins. Right, let's do Crow, and then I'm going to do AR, okay? I'm going to do Crow, and then I'm going to do AR. Let's do Crow. Yup. I think Crow is here right at the bottom because I don't like Crow from a technical perspective. Okay, Mr. Godfather, I think I've already popped your bubble over here. Okay, just the fact that I said I don't like Crow. But let's go look at why I don't like Crow. And it's not to say I don't like the fundamentals. It's just I don't like the technicals. Right. Technically... Okay, let's keep it simple. I can take this out. This has been invalidated, so I can take that out. This has been invalidated, so I can take that out. Okay, we were hoping for a 112 here on Crow, which just didn't happen. Okay, I want to take this out because that's been invalidated. Right, we were really hoping for a 1-2-1-2. It's not a 1-2-1-2 because these lows took the lows. Fuck, it's very close. If you count it from this low, yes. Okay, guys, maybe I need to change my mind here on Crow. Let me look at this structure. Am I on the lock scale? Ooh, this is lock scale. This is lock scale stuff over here. Legends, look at this. It's almost at the lows. Look at that. So if you want to argue that this is maybe a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it has a valid 5 wave to the upside, Elliot wave theory states that it's still valid until it takes the low, and it almost took the lows. So if Crow is going to have any chance of a massive bullish structure to the upside, the lows has to be in. I almost thought it claimed these lows over here. Okay, so there's a chance, if I look at this structure, barely, there's a chance that this is our double 1-2. It's very close. And you're going to get an explosion in the third wave here to the upside. So, Mr. Godfather, actually, until invalidated, it's not over. There's a chance that this is a double 1-2. And what I do like is that this 1-2 is almost the same size and smaller than this 1-2. So from an Elliott wave perspective, it looks good. But that this low was almost invalidated this bullish structure. Almost invalidated it, but it's still valid. Okay, so basically, from a simplicity perspective, let's go back onto the regular scale. Oh, that's percentage. This is stuffing me around. Let's try again. Okay. Right, you're going to have to wait for the break of the trend. I think what you can do is on the smaller time frames. Okay, looks like it's breaking out. You can wait for some high time frame candle closes above. I think if you can just close many candles above this trend without taking the low, right? Because you potentially have a contracting diagonal over here. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is ABC. There's a chance that it's going to break out, okay? As long as it doesn't take this low. This little mini structure here on the 4 hour actually looks like a nice little impulse. That's your 5 wave structure. This is your corrective structure, and now you want to close some candles above. Remember, if this is 1 and this is 2 and it's now going to build a third wave here to the upside, it's going to rock and roll. Okay, so this is a good place to build a position for a breakout to the upside. And maybe let's see, from a trend based fib extension perspective, yeah, I mean, minimum target or a good target, you're looking at the 1.618 at 11 cents. Just from this structure, just this little structure can take you there already, okay? But then you can see you're hitting resistance. Look at this resistance. So if you're playing this little trade, that's a good profit-taking area, okay? But from a spot bag perspective, this is the zone where you want to load up and just hold for that potential altcoin season and maybe take a little bit of profits on the way up. Okay, this is still a nice little significant move here to the upside. So from where price is now to, I mean, that's 31%. That's insane. It's still not in a swing position territory for me because stop loss is too far. Yeah, 12% stop loss. I mean, 3x, 2x leverage. Yeah, I like this structure. I really like this structure. I'm not going to go into smaller time frames to count if there's 5 waves in each structure, if it's a valid structure, because we all know this could also be an A, B, C, and it falls back down. Okay, and this is why you need to trade with stop losses. I think if price finds upwards momentum here, you can move your stop loss and protect yourself, de-risk your position. Right, but Mr. Godfather, Crow actually looks good. It was close. I mean, when I looked at the structure on the daily, I almost thought these lows took the low. But now, when I zoomed in, I was like, okay, There's a chance. There's a chance. I mean, look at this beautiful breakout. And it just accelerates. So, you know, once it breaks out, it literally just takes off like a rocket. So Crow looks good. Okay. Hope I've satisfied your curiosity. It's like they all will get an explosion to the upside. And then we got to the bear market like in October maybe. So sell then, right? Yes. I mean, October, the end of October of this year for me is still a great time to start thinking about closing some positions. Because from a timing perspective, from a bull market timing perspective, the bull market is supposed to come to an end the end of October, November. Okay, it's never perfect. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 months later. Sometimes it's even a month earlier. But the bull market from a technical perspective is supposed to come to an end the end of October of this year. So it can extend into November and December, even Jan. Definitely it can extend. But from a timing perspective, that is where I'm considering closing a lot of my positions. Okay, AR was up next now. Let's do AR. Right, let's do Mr. AR over here. Guys, I do have a big bag of AR. Someone asked me the other day, Dewald, do you still accumulate AR? I said, no, I'm not accumulating AR anymore because I have enough. Like, I am AR out. Okay, I just have too much AR in my bag. So I'm not accumulating at the moment. I'm really bullish on this project from a fundamental perspective. But at some point you need to stop buying because I can't allocate too much of my portfolio into one altcoin. Okay, that's not smart. It's not a smart investment decision. Okay, so AR has not claimed the low. It has a beautiful impulse here to the upside. You know, one could argue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a corrective structure here to the downside. And just want to see. It's at the 1.236. Guys, I mean, beautiful targets here. Okay, 1-to-1 extension, 1.236. It still has a higher low. Okay, so the structure is still bullish. I know that it has tapped the 0.88. I know, which increases the probabilities of taking the low. But on most of the altcoins, it looks like they are ready for a bounce. Even if it's just a small little relief bounce to the upside. Okay. Right. Obvious resistance here on Mr. AR is obvious resistance. So guys, if you're not feeling it, if you're not feeling the altcoin season, okay, you're like, I don't think it's going to happen, right? And you have positions on some of your favorite altcoins where the structures are still bullish, then get out when you hit the resistance. Just get out. Okay? Like AR. If you have a massive position or a good position in AR and you believe the altcoin season is not going to continue and you start hitting major resistance, just get out. Right. And I can still tell you, you're still going to make more profits than 99% of people. Why do I say that? Because you get people that are accumulating and they are expecting face melting price action. They just want it to rip. Okay, they want it to rip. And then it rips. It rips. It rips, but it comes back down. And because people don't know where to take profits. I can tell you guys now, even people that have insane entries here to the downside, or even people that bought over here, okay, are going to get here and they're not going to take profits. They're not going to take profits and they're going to ride it all the way back down. So even if you build a position here and you take profits over here, you're still going to make more money than people that even have better entries, because these people don't know when to start taking profits. They just want this crazy price action. Their portfolio looks the best that they've ever seen their portfolio looks, and then they ride the bear market all the way back to the downside because they believe that every retracement is going to give another bounce. Every retracement, no, it's going to bounce. No, it's going to bounce now, and then it doesn't bounce, and then you're back in the bear market. So they keep on riding the bull markets and the bear markets, and they never fucking take profits. So even if you enter here and you close your position here, you will still make more money than 99% of the people out there. Guaranteed. Right, so AR looks great, guys. In a nutshell, what can I say? Okay, yeah, on the regular scale, I want to see if it's breaking some trends. You guys can see that I'm aggressively tracking this momentum. I want to open up a swing trade on AR. I'm still very bullish on AR, but it's not time yet for me to open up a swing trade. I want this high to be claimed. I wanted to break the trend. I wanted to go and claim the high at $7.8 properly, and no double top. It needs to claim it properly, and then the retracement is where I'm going to open up a swing trade. I have enough in my spot bags. I'm not accumulating at the moment, but I am interested in a swing trade because of the potential that it has to the upside. Okay, even if it's just the potential at resistance that I've just highlighted, even if it's just the resistance to the upside, it's still worth a swing trade. Okay, thanks for taking a look at Crow again. Haha, cheers, buddy. Absolute pleasure, Mr. Godfather. Dimitri, why accumulate if you can day trade? Or are you using this accumulated portfolio as collateral? Yeah, I mean, it's an investment portfolio, right? So I have a couple of trading strategies. And investment, believe it or not, is a trading strategy. Okay, so I have an investment portfolio where I only add. I never take out. I don't even take profits on that portfolio. That is a 20-year portfolio, 30-year portfolio even. Okay, and in that portfolio, I damn well make sure that I believe in the fundamentals of if I do have an altcoin in that portfolio. But that portfolio also consists of gold, platinum, and other assets outside of crypto. It has Bitcoin, it has Ethereum, it has Link inside of it. It has some of the altcoins which I believe long term will still survive. But by all means, if I do see some shit in some of the altcoins, I will remove it from that portfolio. Then I have a shorter time frame portfolio where I'm only buying for this bull market. Okay. And accumulating for this bull market where I exit it completely when I see weakness at the top. It's a buy for the bull market and exit when the bear market starts. Okay, and then I have a day trade portfolio where I'm just day trading up and down, up and down. And I can tell you guys now, I do not like to day trade altcoins. I do 99% of my day trading on Bitcoin because I know its personality, I know how it moves. It has more liquidity, it doesn't have scam weeks to the up and to the downside. And then I sometimes like to build up swing trades. So, it depends on how much time you have on your hands. It depends on, can you manage your portfolio in those different aspects? And and what your exit strategy is. You have to have an exit strategy for each portfolio. If you do not have an exit strategy for any of your portfolios, you're never going to make money. Okay. Right, Dewald, a pro member just asked for IOs. Let's try that. Let's go and see if I can find it. Guys, there are millions of altcoins. Okay, there are millions. And you need to be very selective over which ones you have in your portfolios. Let's look at this one. Oh. Almost said no. Yo. What a weird structure. I mean, the only way you can look at this structure is... Wow. It reminds me of HBAR. It's too bullish. Right. Okay, I mean, it's finding its feet at the 382 order block. I would like for, what is this? You guys know, IAOZ, IOZ, I don't know how to pronounce this. Okay, to get me really interested, I want price to find support there. HBAR is here already. Okay. So it would be nice to come and find support at the 50%. Okay, because you have massive support over here in this order block. Right? This is where I will get interested. But I mean, it is an insanely bullish structure. And I think what's going to be interesting is from a time perspective. Is it time to start accumulating this token? Is it time yet? So if I take a time fib from the low to the high of this structure, then, I mean, I'm looking at this entire impulse now. Okay, and this is why the log scale is so powerful. People don't look at the log scale. They look at this and they think, fuck, it looks great. It's at the lows. Okay, it's tapping the 786. The problem is when you go to the log scale, you can clearly see that all of this is part of an impulse. There's your low, there's your high. Doesn't matter how you count the structure, that you have a high, you have a low, you have a high. From a corrective perspective, it's not time yet. So it could dance around over here and then do that right after the 0.382. So you want this corrective structure to come to an end at the end of May, 24th of May. That's when you want the corrective structure to actually come to an end. Okay, so the timing doesn't look great. But what I would like to see, ABC, this looks like, you guys, this looks like the impulse. Okay, this looks like the impulse, and this looks like an A, B, C. That could also be where you then move your time fib up. Wait, I need to use this. Okay, I'm just trying to look at it from all angles, guys. There's never a right or a wrong way. You just need to. Okay. Then the low was made after the 0.618. So from a timing perspective, that then balances. That would also make sense, because what confuses me about the structure, okay, is that this high took the low. So I'm trying to see, well, can I count this as a bullish structure? I can't. It took the low. So now this is looking like a three-wave corrective structure that is correcting this impulse. Okay, so targets. Now I need to go and look at targets. Does it make sense from a target perspective? Usually what I will do when I have time is I will go and count all of these structures. I will go and count them to see, is it an A wave? Is it a W? Well, what is this to the downside? What is this to the upside? I will go measure it out with Fibonacci's. It's just going to take me I usually spend an hour and a half to 2 hours counting this structure to make sure that it balances. So here inside of the live streams, I just have to, do it a little bit quicker. So from the high to the low, I don't know why my trading view is lagging at the moment. Okay. Ooh, okay, there's a chance. Okay, this looks good. There's a chance. A, B, C, maximum target, hit. So there's a chance. There's a chance. Actually a very good chance. If this is, because this looks like a B flat, and to measure your B flat, you want to take your fib from the high to the low, you drag it across. I just want to see if it rejected where it was supposed to reject. B flat targets. Okay, yes, it rejected above the high, did not tap the 1.618. So this is a valid B wave, very valid B wave. This looks like an ABC flat. The B took the high, the C took A. Absolutely, this actually looks way better than the previous way that I've just measured it. It tapped the 1.618 and it can go. The 618 over here, the 1.618 is regarded as a maximum retracement target. But I have seen when I've done back testing on Bitcoin and many altcoins that the 2 also gets respected. Okay, at the 50% Fibonacci. So there's a chance that the low is in and it's going to start moving back to the upside to come and claim these highs. But there's a chance that you could also scoop up some more at 11 cents. Just depends on what Bitcoin's going to do, right, legends? Okay, it depends on what cap you've got on. If you have the cap on, we're going to go to $70,000, $68,000 on Bitcoin. You're most likely going to get this bounce. If you have the cap on that the low is in and we're going to have a relief rally back to the upside, then the low is in. Okay, and I think what's more important is to now go onto the regular scale where I like to do my trends and go and find if you can see a little bit of a breakout happening. Okay, so let's clean up the chart, go to the 8-hour time frame and just look at this structure. Okay, so I think you're already breaking out. Okay, You're already breaking out. Now you're going to have to go into the 1 hour time frame to go look for the breakouts there. There was already a breakout. It's breaking out. Okay. Right. So, but iOS, however you pronounce it, doesn't look too bad. Okay. Can we look at TIA? Yes, we can look at TIA. We can look at TIA. Why not? For the legends over here. Why not? Remember to smash up that like button. That's all I ask in return, is that you smash up the like button. And if you would like to come and trade these altcoins, all these altcoins that I'm going through now, remember guys, it's also your way to support the channel. The links are down in the description. Weeks, you get 20% cash back for the money that you deposit in your features account. So if you deposit $1,000, you will get $200 extra to trade with. Okay, and all you need is an email and a password. You also get 25% discount in your trading fees. Bluffin, exactly the same. You get 20% cash back on the money that you deposit in your features account. All you need is an email and a password. It's your way to support the channel. And on Bluffin, also, every time you move $10,000 worth in volume, you get to spin the wheel and win something. Okay, absolutely amazing. Right, let's look at TIA over here. I actually do have TIA in my spot bag. I bought it and I didn't sell any. So, and I'm underwater with Mr. TIA over here. Underwater. Right, legends, it would be nice to have price action a little bit further. It would have been, I want to see where the structure came from. But anyways, this is the low I have at the moment. There's just no other low, right? I have my resistance. TIA is one of those ones, if it breaks out, and it hasn't broken out yet, okay, you take profits when you start hitting resistance. You just fucking get out, right? I just want to see what it looks like on a lock scale. Yeah, it's very close to the, but I mean, I don't know. This is the problem with TIA, guys, is that I don't know if this is the low. Okay, I've tried multiple exchanges to get more data, but on CoinGecko and on CoinMarketCap, it looks like it has more historical price action that I cannot find in TradingView. So there's a chance that it came from lower levels and it's bullish. It's creating a bullish bounce at the moment. So the only thing I do have to work with is to say that, well, okay, I'm going to ignore this and I'm just going to look at this structure. You know, you have an impulse from the upside and this is the corrective structure, because I don't know where price came from over here. This is why it's so important to me to have enough data when I analyze something. So from the high to the low to the high, reverse. Okay, so we are now on the lock scale. Yes, we're now on the lock scale. On the lock scale, did it hit any significant targets? Okay, it did hit the 786. Not very common, but it is a target for a three-wave corrective structure. It is a target. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can count 5 waves in here. So maybe this is an A, this is a B, this is a C. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Corrective structure could be to an end, but I would ideally like to see the 1-to-1. Okay, that is still very far away, legends. From where price is now, if it goes and taps the 1-to-1, that's still 30% away. Okay, but there's a chance that it could have found its feet. So I just want to look at the regular scale here as well. Yeah, I mean, fuck, the regular scale just doesn't make any sense. Okay, I mean, your first target is already in the minus, which means the project's gonna die unless it's this one. Unless it's this one. And then the targets also still doesn't make sense. It's just, TIA has a very confusing structure for me. I need more price action over here. And the corrective structure, the only one that makes sense is the one on the lock scale. It's the only corrective structure that makes sense. Okay, where you've tapped the 786. Okay, so to play it safe, you need to wait for the breakout. Okay, and you need to take profits on the way up. It's as simple as that. For me, if I had to trade TIA here at the moment, okay, it's also, TIA is one of those that I plan to exit. I'm not going to hold long onto TIA. So if TIA can break the trend, okay, you want to claim that high. You don't want it to reject again. You want a higher low. You want to flip resistance into support. Okay. And then as you hit resistance here to the upside, that's also okay. This one actually needs to move down. That's your first area of resistance. I can almost guarantee you guys, okay, if TIA had to hit this box, I'm out. I don't care if it goes higher. I'm just not feeling it with TIA, but I'm not going to take a loss. Okay, I'm not going to take a loss. I have accumulated TIA in this zone, so I am currently underwater, and I can tell you guys now, when TIA hits $9, $10, I'm out. Because I think there are fundamental tokens with better technical analysis. I don't care if it goes and claims the highs. I don't care. I want to get out of TIA. But I'm not going to sell at a loss. Right. Cool. Bitcoin is still continuing and grinding here to the downside. I just quickly want to see what Bitcoin is doing over here. Okay. Guys, I do expect some explosive movements from Bitcoin as the day progresses, because we all know how Bitcoin likes to get really, really volatile before the weekend kicks in. Okay, so I'm expecting a big move today. It's either going to be up or down. I would prefer down, because this zone here to the downside still looks juicy. I did do a little bit of quick technical analysis on the price of Bitcoin before I started in the beginning of the live stream. So if you'd like to see the technical analysis during the meninging of the live stream, okay, I would personally, if I had to have my way with Bitcoin, I would like lower before we go up. Okay, but we don't always get what we want, right, legends? Okay, Dewald, I checked TIA, doesn't have more history. Doesn't have more history. Okay, well then, you know, then I'm, you know, it just confirms why I'm getting out. So if TIA does not have more history, it just confirms why I'm getting out over here. You could also SFP the low over here. If it SFPs the low, I mean, it's gonna, you know, guys, if we get an altcoin season, you have to remember everything's going to pump. Some are going to pump more than others, but a rising tide raises all ships. It's also going to pump the shittest of shittest coin out there, and people going to believe that they are holding on to diamonds. Meanwhile, it's just the rising tide that's raising all the ships. I am trying to get into the tokens where it's the rising tide's not just going to raise my ship, it's going to give me great returns. Okay, great returns. From a technical perspective, I can almost estimate also where to take profits if we have extended targets to the upside. Right, legends, I have unfortunately run out of time. I've been here for over 2 hours and 20 minutes. I need to take a break. My eyes are burning here behind the light. I appreciate every single one of you that's been here the whole time listening to all of the altcoins. And remember to smash up that like. The links to trade all of these altcoins are down in the description, where you get the best deals and best sign up bonuses, lowest trading fees, also your way to support the channel. Thank you so much for joining the live stream. Have a super awesome weekend, and I will see you guys again in the next one. Cheers for now.